everyone, and welcome back to Drama-O-Rama Online. I'm Mrs. Combs, and I'm so excited to share this time with you today. Now, remember to have your journals ready, and let's get started. For today's warm-up, we are going to make a peanut butter and jam sandwich using our imagination. So first we need to get all of our ingredients. So here is our tabletop right here. And we have right here a jar of peanut butter. And next to it, we have a jar of my favorite jam. Right here, we have a plate. Over here, we have a loaf of bread. And then we have 2 butter knives to spread the peanut butter and the jam. So the first thing we're going to do is take the bread out of the package and put it on the plate. So I'm going to take the package, take off the twist tie, open it up, and pull out 1, 2 slices of bread. Got to close it up so the bread stays fresh. All right. Then I'm going to open up my jar of peanut butter. That wasn't so hard. And then I'm going to take my knife, get a nice big glob of peanut butter, and I'm going to spread it. Spread it on the bread. Oh, that smells so good. All right, clean off that knife on the bread and set that aside. Next, I am going to, I think I need to put the jar lid back on the peanut butter. Let's do that. And set it down. All right, next we have our jar of jam. My favorite, peach. All right, are you ready? Open it up. Wow, this is a little harder than the peanut butter. Oh, finally got that off. All right. Then I'm going to take my other knife, get a nice big glob of jam, and spread it on the other piece of bread. That looks so good. Clean that knife off and set that down. All right. I'm not going to forget this time to put the lid back on the jam. There. All right. Next, I'm going to take the side with the jam on it and put it on top of the peanut butter and kind of smoosh it down a little bit. Smells good. Then I'm going to take one of my knives, and I like to cut mine into 4 pieces. So I'm going to start with 1/4 of a peanut butter and jam sandwich and eat it. Wow. I wish I had some milk. It's so good. Today, we are going to tell a fairy tale using pantomime. And remember, pantomime is the art of communicating emotions and actions using only gestures. And a fairy tale is a make-believe story beginning with a version of Once Upon a Time. And these stories have magical elements to them, good characters and villains, and generally end with happily ever after. Fairy tales were passed down through word of mouth over the years, and they weren't written down until much later. So today, we are going to act out the fairy tale, Stone Soup. You may recognize this fairy tale. I will tell the story as I act it out, and I want you to act it out with me using pantomime. Are you ready? Find your space bubbles, then stand in neutral. Stone
Stone Soup, a pantomime fairy tale.
A long, long time ago, some weary travelers were wandering through a very, very large forest. Oh, the travelers were tired and hungry and had been walking for hours. Suddenly, they saw some smoke in the distance and followed that smoke until they saw a small village. So then they started to run, and they ran faster and faster. Oh, they wanted something to eat and a place to sleep so badly. They thought, we would do anything for a bowl of hot soup. But when they got to the village and looked around, they didn't see anybody around. So they thought, well, at least we could have a place to sleep, and started setting up their tent. So they got their poles and set them up, kind of like a little teepee. There we go. And got the tarp and threw it over. Well, as they were pitching their tent, some very curious villagers kind of creeped out of their houses and looked at these travelers and said, "What are you doing?" Well, the travelers said, "We've been traveling for days and just want something warm to eat and a place to sleep." Well, the villagers were not very compassionate. They said, "Sorry, but we've had a rough winter and have no food or shelter, so you should just go." Well, the travelers, not wanting to leave, said, "Well, we were planning on making a nice hearty stone soup. If you want, you could join us. There'll be plenty for everybody." And they went, "What? Stone soup? Is that delicious?" And he was like, "Oh, stone soup is the most delicious soup ever made. But we will need firewood." And the villager said, one villager, I know where we can grab some firewood. Everybody, grab some firewood. So everybody picked up some firewood and brought it to the travelers. And the travelers started to build a nice fire. All right, don't forget to put the kindling in there. All right, take 2 sticks, rub them together. Keep rubbing. It's not easy to light a fire. Hey, we got lucky. So, whoosh, nice. Ooh, what a nice warm fire. So one of the travelers had a nice cooking pot, picked it up, set it on top of the fire, and got a bucket, filled it with water, filled up that soup pot, there, and was just about to stir it when he reached into his pocket, pulled out a bag, opened it up, and took out the stone. Well, one of the villagers looked at that stone and said, that looks like an ordinary stone. What's so special about it? And the traveler said, well, no, this is not an ordinary stone. This is a special soup stone. And he popped it into the pot and started to stir with a big wooden spoon. Then he decided to take a taste. So he dipped the tasting spoon into the soup pot, blew on it, took a sip. I think it needs salt. Does anyone have any salt? And the villagers all shook their heads, no. Oh, well, this soup isn't going to be any good without salt, so I guess I'll just throw it away. And the villagers were shocked. They said, wait, I think I know somebody who has salt. I'll be right back. So that villager took off, picked up some salt, brought it back out to the soup pot, took some salt, sprinkled it in, sprinkled a little more, and set that salt down. And the traveler took that wooden spoon and started stirring the soup. Took his tasting spoon. It's better, but I think it needs parsley. Does anybody have any parsley? And all of the villagers shook their head no. And the traveler said, well, you don't have any parsley, this isn't going to be any good, so I'll just throw this away. And one of the villagers said, no, wait. I think I know someone who has parsley. I'll be right back. So that villager went off, picked some parsley, washed it off, and then took it to the soup pot, pulled off all the leaves, and put those yummy parsley leaves into the pot. Set the stems aside and let the traveler stir the pot. Take the tasting spoon, take a taste. That is better. But I think this soup needs some carrots. Does anyone have any carrots? And the villagers all shook their head no. And the traveler said, well, I guess I'll just have to. And then one of the villagers said, no, wait. I have some carrots. I know at least one in my garden. I'll be right back. So that villager went off, picked that carrot, washed it off, took off the greens, gave it a couple of chops, ran back to the soup pot, put it in the soup pot. Then the traveler stirred the pot, grabbed a soup spoon, took a taste. This is getting better, but I think it needs some pepper. Does anyone have any pepper? And the villagers all shook their head. No. So then he said, well, I guess I'll just have to. And one of the villagers said, no, wait. I have pepper. I know I have pepper in my pantry. I'll be right back. So that villager went off, grabbed their pepper grinder, came running back, ground that pepper into the soup. 2, 4, 8, and then set that grinder down, let the traveler stir the pot, took that tasting spoon, took a taste. Ooh, better. But I think it needs onions. Does anybody have any onions? And all of the villagers just shook their head no. And then the traveler said, well, I guess I'll just have to. And no, wait. One of the villagers stopped him and said, I know somebody who has an onion, at least one. I'll be right back. So that villager went off, got that onion, cut off the ends, peeled it, cut it in half, cut it in quarters, cut it in eighths, came running back, put it in the soup pot, let the traveler stir it around, get the tasting spoon, give it a taste. This is getting to be a good soup. Well, as the traveler kept stirring, the villagers kept coming up with all of these different spices and all of these different seasonings and all of these different vegetables. They all worked together to make this a wonderful smelling soup. And when it was all ready, the traveler dished up a bowl of soup for everyone that helped make it. And then everyone sat down with their bowl of soup and ate and ate until they were full. And they celebrated by telling stories and singing songs until it was time for bed. The next morning, when they got up, the travelers, being travelers, packed up their tent, took everything down, packed everything away, and as they were doing so, the villagers ran out and went, "No, no, no, please don't leave. We loved having you. Please stay. We could cook some more soup with you." And the traveler said, "Well, see, here's the thing. We're travelers, so we really like to travel. So we kind of need to go. Feeling rested, feeling good. Thank you so much for your hospitality." So they shook hands with everybody in the village. "But before I go," says one of the travelers, pulling out the bag from his pocket, opening up the bag, taking out the stone, and handing it to one of the villagers. And that traveler said to the villagers, "This soup stone only works if you all work together, if you all share ingredients, and you all eat together." So the villagers made a promise that they would do that with that soup stone. So the travelers went on their way, and as they were outside of the village, one of them spotted a stone on the ground, picked it up, looked at it, and said, "You know, you never know when we might need you." So he took that stone, opened up the bag, put the stone in the bag, put that bag in his pocket, and they went on their merry way. And the travelers and the villagers lived happily ever after. The end. We were able to retell the fairy tale Stone Soup by using pantomime. And this kind of felt like the old tradition of passing down the fairy tale through word of mouth, and made it so much more active and so much more interesting. I really felt like a storyteller when we were acting this out using pantomime. When we used gestures to convey the different emotions, like when the travelers were tired, or hungry, or when the villagers were panicky, "No, no, don't throw away the soup." That was really fun to do all of that. And then we used gestures to show the different actions, like stirring the soup, or grinding the pepper in the soup, or even tasting the soup. All of this, I feel, makes a more interesting and more active story. And I think kind of goes along with that wonderful storytelling tradition using just word of mouth. It's time for today's journal prompt.
I want you to think about your favorite moment in Stone Soup. Was it at the beginning when the travelers were wandering through the forest, when they were pitching their tent, building the fire with the villagers, or making the soup? Then I want you to draw a picture of yourself pantomiming your favorite part of the story. And remember, use details.
Thank you so much for pantomiming the fairy tale Stone Soup with me today. Until next time, we'll sing goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.